The medical station orbited New Haven like a bright star against the dark void of space. Dr. Amanda Carter walked through the main medical bay, checking on her patients. The smell of antiseptic mixed with the strange blue flowers that the elves used for healing. She stopped beside a bed where a young Vorthak soldier lay unconscious. His breathing was steady now after 3 days of treatment. Amanda had been working in space for 5 years, but this place was special. The station treated everyone who came through their doors. It did not matter if they were human or elf, or even the alien Vorthak who had been at war with everyone for decades. The Red Cross symbol on her uniform meant something here in the darkness, between stars. Zarathel approached from the other side of the bay. The elf moved with that fluid grace her people were known for. Her silver hair caught the medical bay lights as she checked the readings on another patient monitor. The elves had been allies with humans for over 20 years now. Their healing magic worked well with human medical technology. "How is the Vorthak soldier doing today?" Zarathel asked in her soft accent. Her English was perfect, but she still spoke with the musical quality all elves had. "Better," Amanda replied as she updated the medical chart. "His internal injuries are healing faster than expected. Your people's healing crystals are amazing." Zarathel smiled and touched the small crystal pendant around her neck. "My grandmother always said that healing is the highest form of magic. It brings life where there was only pain." Through the observation windows, Amanda could see Commander Lisa Hayes on the command deck of the station. Lisa was talking with several fleet captains through holographic displays. The woman never seemed to sleep. She had been assigned to protect the medical station and took her job very seriously. The medical station had been built here because the Kepler system sat right between human space and the territories where most of the fighting happened. Wounded ships from both sides of the war often limped here looking for help. The station operated under strict neutrality rules that were respected by most civilized species. "Dr. Carter, please report to Docking Bay 3 immediately," came the announcement over the station speakers. Amanda sighed and handed the chart to Zarathel. "Another emergency, I suppose. Will you keep an eye on our patients?" "Of course," the elf replied. "Go save more lives, Amanda. That is what you do best." Amanda took the transport pod through the station corridors to Docking Bay 3. When she arrived, she saw something that made her heart race. A massive Vorthak dreadnought hung in space outside the bay. The ship was badly damaged with hull breaches and scorch marks covering its dark metal surface. Lisa was already there along with station security. The commander looked tense as she watched the alien ship through the observation windows. "They sent a message asking for medical assistance," Lisa explained when Amanda joined her. "Their ship took heavy damage in a battle 3 systems away. They have wounded aboard." "Are we going to help them?" Amanda asked, though she already knew the answer. The medical station had never turned away anyone who needed help. "That is why you are here," Lisa said. "They are requesting permission to transfer their wounded to our medical bay. What is your medical opinion?" Amanda studied the readings from the ship's distress beacon. "They have at least 40 wounded according to their transmission. Some are in critical condition. We have the space and equipment to treat them." "Even though they are Vorthak?" one of the security officers asked. "Even though their people have been trying to kill us for 30 years. "Especially because they are Vorthak," Amanda answered firmly. "When someone is bleeding and asking for help, it does not matter what species they are. It does not matter what uniform they wear. They need medical care, and we are going to give it to them." Lisa nodded slowly. "I was hoping you would say that. Give them permission to dock. Have your medical teams ready for mass casualties." The next few hours were a blur of activity. The Vorthak ship docked carefully with the station. Amanda had seen pictures of the alien warriors before, but never up close. They were taller than humans with dark gray skin and solid black eyes. Their wounded looked just as vulnerable as any other patient. The Vorthak medical officer who came aboard introduced herself as Kethra. She spoke broken but understandable English and seemed surprised by how quickly the human and elf medical teams went to work on her people. "You help us," Kethra said to Amanda as they worked on a Vorthak soldier with severe burns. "Even though we are enemies, you help us." "Why?" Amanda looked up from the patient. "Because that is what healers do. We help anyone who needs it. That is our oath." Kethra watched the human and elf medical teams working together to save Vorthak lives. Her people had been told that humans were cruel and elves were weak, but here she saw something different. She saw beings who put healing above hatred. As the night shift began, Amanda found herself working beside Kethra in surgery. The Vorthak had different internal anatomy, but the basics were the same. Stop the bleeding, repair the damage, save the life. There is something I must tell you, Kethra said quietly as they finished closing up their patient. Something important about why we are here. Amanda looked at the alien officer. There was something in those black eyes that looked like fear. My ship was not damaged in battle. Kethra continued. We were sent here for another reason. There is a fleet coming. A large fleet with orders to destroy this station. What? Amanda stepped back from the surgical table. Why would they attack a medical station? Because healing your wounded makes them stronger to fight again, Kethra explained. The War Master believes that mercy is weakness. He wants to eliminate all medical facilities that help coalition forces. Amanda felt her blood turn cold. When? Tomorrow at dawn, Kethra said. I came here expecting to find cruel enemies. Instead, I found healers who saved my people. I cannot let them kill you. My own daughter was saved by human medics during the Battle of Proxima Station. I owe your people a debt. Amanda activated her emergency communicator. Lisa, this is Amanda. We have a problem. A big problem. Within minutes, the station was buzzing with activity. Lisa called an emergency meeting while Zarathel helped Amanda prepare the medical bay for possible evacuation. The elf's normally calm expression showed worry. So they are coming to kill healers, Zarathel said as she secured medical supplies. This is beyond the rules of honorable war. This is an attack on the very idea of mercy itself. Amanda nodded as she backed up critical patient data. Then we need to make sure they fail. Too many lives depend on this place. Outside the station windows, the stars looked peaceful and cold. But somewhere in that darkness, a fleet was moving toward them. A fleet with orders to destroy anyone who dared to heal the wounded and comfort the dying. The war was about to change in ways nobody could imagine. The first explosions came just as the artificial dawn cycle began on the medical station. Amanda was checking on patients in the critical care ward when the walls shook and emergency lights began flashing red. Through the observation windows, she could see bright flashes in space as weapons fire lit up the darkness. Sergeant Kelly Murphy burst into the medical bay carrying her emergency kit. The young medic had been on duty in the outer sections when the attack began. Her uniform had scorch marks, and her face was pale but determined. Dr. Carter, we need to start evacuating patients now, Kelly said, as another explosion rocked the station. The Vorthak fleet just dropped out of hyperspace, and they are targeting our medical sections first. Amanda felt sick to her stomach. No civilized military force targeted medical facilities. It went against every rule of war that had been established over centuries of conflict. But the evidence was right there in the weapons fire outside the windows. How many ships? Amanda asked as she began disconnecting patients from their monitors. At least 30, Kelly replied. Commander Hayes has our defensive fleet engaging them, but we are badly outnumbered. They brought a lot of firepower. Zarathel appeared at Amanda's side. The elf had been in the healing gardens when the attack started, but had rushed to help with the evacuation. Her normally perfect hair was disheveled, and there was fear in her ancient eyes. The Vorthak are specifically targeting anything with medical markings, Zarathel said. I saw them destroy an ambulance shuttle that was clearly marked with red cross symbols. This is not random destruction. They are hunting healers. Amanda's hands shook with anger as she helped move a wounded coalition pilot onto a mobile stretcher. The pilot had been recovering from surgery and was barely conscious. Now they were forcing him to move when he should have been resting. Get him to the emergency shelter in Section 7, Amanda told Kelly. That area has the best armor plating. Another massive explosion shook the station, and this time the lights went out completely. Emergency power kicked in a few seconds later, but the damage was done. Through the now cracked observation windows, Amanda could see that one of the main medical towers had been hit. Debris and bodies floated in space where the pediatric ward used to be. My gods, Zarathel whispered. They destroyed the children's hospital. The elf's voice broke, and Amanda saw tears running down her face. Zarathel had been working with the young patients just yesterday, human children and elf children and even some young Vorthak who had been orphaned by the war. All of them were gone now. Commander Lisa Hayes' voice came over the emergency communication system. All medical personnel, this is Commander Hayes. The enemy is specifically targeting medical facilities and anyone wearing medical insignia. Take cover immediately and prepare for boarding parties. Amanda looked down at the Red Cross symbol on her uniform. The same symbol that had protected healers for centuries was now making her a target, but she could not take it off, not when there were still patients who needed help. "We keep working," Amanda said firmly. "We save who we can, and we do not stop until everyone is safe." Kethra appeared in the medical bay carrying a Vorthak weapon. The alien officer looked ashamed and angry at the same time. Her own people were attacking the station where she had just received life-saving treatment. "I will help defend this place," Kethra announced. "This attack goes against everything my people once believed in. We were warriors, not murderers of healers." The station shook again, and this time they could hear the sound of hull breaches. Somewhere in the outer sections, the enemy had broken through. Amanda could hear weapons fire getting closer as Vorthak boarding parties fought through the corridors. Zarathel closed her eyes and began speaking in the ancient elf language. Her hands glowed with a soft blue light as she cast a protection spell around the medical bay. The magical barrier would not stop heavy weapons, but it might give them a few extra minutes. "How long can you maintain that?" Amanda asked as she continued. "Moving patients." "Not long," Zarathel admitted. "This kind of protective magic requires enormous energy. But I will hold it as long as I can." Kelly had returned with more medical staff to help with the evacuation. They moved through the bay like a well-trained team carrying patients toward the emergency shelters. But there were so many wounded and so little time. The sound of weapons fire was getting closer. Amanda could hear human voices shouting orders and the distinctive sound of Vorthak plasma rifles. The enemy boarding parties were moving through the station, methodically destroying every medical facility they found. Through the communication system, they could hear scattered reports from other sections. The maternity ward had been hit. The trauma center was gone. Enemy soldiers were executing wounded prisoners in their beds rather than taking them captive. "This is insane," Kelly said as she helped carry an unconscious Vorthak patient. "They are killing their own wounded people too. What kind of military orders are these?" Kethra heard this, and her expression grew even darker. "These are not military orders. This is the work of War Master Thokvar. He believes that showing mercy makes us weak. He wants to eliminate the very concept of healing from this war." Amanda felt something break inside her chest. Not fear or sadness, but pure rage. She had spent her entire career saving lives, and now someone wanted to destroy that. Someone wanted to make healing itself a crime. The protective barrier around the medical bay suddenly flickered and went out. Zarathel collapsed to her knees, exhausted from maintaining the spell. At the same moment, the main doors to the medical bay exploded inward and Vorthak soldiers rushed inside. "Medical personnel, surrender now!" the lead soldier shouted in broken English. "Healers are enemies of the Empire." Amanda stepped forward with her hands raised, but her voice was steady. "We are treating your wounded. Look around you. Half these patients are your own people." The Vorthak soldier looked around the medical bay and saw his people being cared for by human and elf healers. For a moment, his weapon wavered. Then his communication device crackled with orders in the Vorthak language. Kethra translated with horror in her voice. "He is ordering them to kill everyone with medical markings. No exceptions, no prisoners." Amanda grabbed Kelly's hand and looked into the young medic's eyes. "Remember what we swore when we became healers. First, do no harm, but also never stop trying to save lives." The Vorthak soldiers raised their weapons, but before they could fire, Kethra stepped between them and the medical staff. She spoke rapidly in her own language, arguing with the soldiers. Amanda could not understand the words, but she could hear the anger and shame in Kethra's voice. One of the soldiers pointed his weapon at Kethra and spoke harshly. She replied by pointing at the patients around them, including Vorthak wounded who were alive because of human and elf medical care. Outside the medical bay, the battle continued. Commander Hayes and her security teams were fighting desperately to protect the remaining medical facilities. But there were too many enemies, and they were specifically hunting healers. The lead Vorthak soldier seemed to be considering Kethra's words. But then his communication device crackled again with more orders. His expression hardened, and he raised his weapon toward Amanda. "Healers die," he said in English. "Orders from War Master." Amanda closed her eyes and thought about all the lives she had saved. All the children who had grown up healthy because of medical care. All the soldiers who had returned home to their families because someone had been there to heal their wounds. If this was the end, then at least she had made a difference. At least she had spent her life trying to help others. But the weapon fire never came. Instead, she heard Zarathel speaking in a voice filled with ancient power. When Amanda opened her eyes, the elf was standing with her arms spread wide and her eyes glowing with silver light. "You would murder healers," Zarathel said, and her voice seemed to come from everywhere at once. "You would destroy those who bring life and comfort to the suffering. Then you have chosen to become enemies of all that is good in this universe." The Vorthak soldiers stepped backward in fear. Even their advanced weapons seemed small and useless against the ancient power flowing through the elf. Outside the station, Amanda could hear new sounds. Human voices calling for reinforcements. The deep thrumming of human warship engines approaching at maximum speed. Commander Hayes' voice came over the communication system one last time. "Emergency message sent to Earth Command. Medical station, under attack. Send everything. Send it now." Amanda looked around the destroyed medical bay at the patients they had been unable to save. At the bodies floating in space where the children's hospital used to be. At the symbols of healing burned and broken by those who chose hatred over mercy. Something had broken in the universe today. Some line had been crossed that could never be uncrossed. Earth was going to respond to this attack, and when they did, the galaxy was going to learn what happened when humans lost everything they held sacred. The emergency session convened in the highest security chamber beneath Earth's military headquarters. Admiral Helen Brooks had called together leaders from across human space and beyond. The holographic displays showed the destruction of the medical station in brutal detail, bodies floating in space where healing gardens once grew, hospital ships torn apart by weapons fire. Medical personnel executed while treating patients. The Elven High Council had sent their most senior representative, Elder Sylvanus, who sat rigid in his chair as the reports continued. His normally calm elven features showed an emotion that humans rarely saw from his people. Pure rage. "They targeted children," Elder Sylvanus said in a voice like winter wind. "They destroyed a pediatric ward filled with young ones from many species. This goes beyond the bounds of honorable warfare. This is an attack on the very concept of mercy itself." Admiral Brooks nodded grimly as she reviewed the casualty reports. 67 medical personnel killed, including 12 elven healers. Over 200 patients murdered in their beds. The images from the security cameras showed Vorthak soldiers specifically hunting anyone wearing medical insignia. "Dr. Carter and her team managed to save some of the patients," Admiral Brooks reported. "They are currently aboard the rescue ships heading back to Coalition space, but the damage is beyond anything we have seen in this war." The massive display screen showed footage from the medical station during the attack. Amanda could be seen, moving patients to safety while explosions rocked the facility around her. Zarathel using her magic to shield human medics from weapons fire. Kethra defending the medical bay against her own people. The Vorthak officer Kethra has provided extensive intelligence about their military structure, Admiral Brooks continued. She is horrified by what her people have done and wants to help us respond. Elder Sylvanus leaned forward in his chair. The ancient elf looked like he had aged centuries in the past few hours. "My people have debated for days about how to respond to this atrocity. The vote was unanimous. Every member of the High Council agrees that those who would murder healers have forfeited any right to mercy or quarter." This announcement sent shock, waves through the assembled military leaders. The elves were known throughout the galaxy for their peaceful nature and diplomatic solutions. For them to vote for unrestricted warfare meant the situation had crossed lines that could not be uncrossed. "What are you proposing, Elder?" Admiral Brooks asked, though she suspected she already knew the answer. "Total war," Elder Sylvanus replied, without hesitation. We offer our battle mages, our Moon Guard warriors, and our most powerful war magic to support human retaliation. The Vorthak have shown they do not understand mercy, so we will teach them fear instead. Admiral Brooks turned to face the other human commanders in the room. These were hard men and women who had fought in dozens of conflicts across human space. But even they looked shaken by what had happened at the medical station. "This brings us to Project Reaper," Admiral Brooks said, and the room fell silent. "Authorization, Omega Black, eyes only. What I am about to show you exists at the highest level of military classification. The display screens change to show technical specifications for advanced combat armor and genetic enhancement procedures. The images looked like something from a science fiction movie, but the technical data was all too real. Captain Maya Rodriguez, please step forward," Admiral Brooks commanded. A woman who had been standing in the shadows moved into the light. She was tall and lean with cybernetic implants visible along her arms and neck. Her eyes had an unusual silver color that seemed to shift and change in the light. When she moved, it was with inhuman grace and speed. "Captain Rodriguez leads our Reaper Special Forces Unit," Admiral Brooks explained. "They were designed as humanity's ultimate weapon, enhanced with cybernetic implants and trained in combat techniques that combine human tactics with elven battle magic." Elder Sylvanus studied the human woman with interest. "I can sense the magic woven into her enhancements. This is impressive. Work. How many Reapers do you have?" 47 active operatives, Maya replied in a voice that carried just a hint of electronic modulation. "We were created for situations exactly like this one, when the normal rules of warfare break down and extreme measures become necessary." The room was quiet as everyone absorbed this information. The existence of super soldiers was the kind of secret that governments killed to protect. The fact that Admiral Brooks was revealing them now showed how seriously Earth was taking the attack on the medical station. "What is the mission?" Maya asked, though her enhanced tactical systems had probably already analyzed dozens of possible scenarios. Admiral Brooks activated another display showing Vorthak star charts and fleet positions. Kethra had provided detailed intelligence about enemy military installations across 15 star systems. "Operation Nightfall," Admiral Brooks announced. "We are going to systematically destroy every Vorthak military installation within 50 light years of the medical station. We are going to eliminate their command structure and demonstrate that attacking medical personnel carries consequences beyond their comprehension." Elder Sylvanus nodded approvingly. "My battle mages can open shadow paths directly into their installations. Your Reapers can appear inside their most secure facilities without warning." Maya studied the tactical displays with her enhanced vision, processing information faster than normal humans could follow. "This will require perfect coordination between human forces and elven magic. Are your people prepared for that level of integration? My Moon Guard warriors have been training with human tactics for months in preparation for deeper cooperation," Elder Sylvanus replied. "This attack on healers has shown us that our peoples must work together more closely than ever before." The door to the conference room opened, and Amanda Carter entered, flanked by 2 security officers. She still wore her medical uniform with scorch marks from the attack. Her face was grim but determined. "Dr. Carter reporting as requested, Admiral," Amanda said, though she looked confused about why she had been summoned to a military briefing. "Doctor, we need medical personnel represented in our response to this attack," Admiral Brooks explained. "You and your team were specifically targeted because you wore medical insignia. We want you to be part of the mission that makes sure this never happens again." Amanda looked around the room at the military leaders and enhanced soldiers. "I am a healer, not a warrior. My oath is to save lives, not take them. And that is exactly why we need you," Maya said, stepping forward. "This is not about revenge, Doctor. This is about ensuring that medical personnel can continue to save lives without fear of being hunted and killed for their mercy." Zarathel appeared in the doorway behind Amanda. The elf looked exhausted from using so much healing magic during the evacuation, but her silver eyes burned with determination. "I volunteer to accompany Amanda as her protection detail," Zarathel announced. "The attack on the medical station was an attack on everything my people believe in. Those who would murder healers must learn that such actions carry consequences." Admiral Brooks looked at the unlikely group forming in front of her. Enhanced human soldiers, elven battle mages, and medical personnel working together. It was exactly the kind of cooperation that had made the Human-Elf Alliance so successful. Kethra has provided us with detailed intelligence about Vorthak Command, centers, and fleet positions, Admiral Brooks continued. She wants to help us capture War Master Thokvar, who gave the orders to attack medical facilities. Maya's cybernetic systems highlighted potential mission parameters as she analyzed the intelligence data. Simultaneous strikes across multiple star systems. Disable their communications, then eliminate command structure. This is achievable with proper coordination. Elder Sylvanus stood from his chair, and his ancient voice carried the weight of centuries. Let it be recorded that on this day the alliance between humans and elves moved beyond cooperation to complete unity. We will fight this war together, and we will show the galaxy that some lines cannot be crossed. Amanda looked at the faces around her. Military leaders planning destruction while she dedicated her life to healing. But she understood that sometimes violence was necessary to protect those who could not protect themselves. If I participate in this mission, I have conditions, Amanda said firmly. We follow the rules of warfare even when our enemies do not. We take prisoners when possible. We treat enemy wounded according to medical ethics. We do not become the monsters. We are fighting. Maya nodded respectfully. Agreed, Doctor. The Reapers were created to be humanity's sword, not our conscience. Having you along will remind us what we are fighting to protect. Admiral Brooks activated the final display showing fleet positions and deployment schedules. Operation Nightfall begins in 72 hours. Every available human warship will participate along with the Elven Crystal Fleet. We are going to show the Vorthak that attacking healers was the biggest mistake they could have made. Outside, the conference room window's Earth turned slowly in space, looking peaceful and blue. But beneath that calm surface, the most powerful military force in human history was preparing to deploy. The Reapers were coming, and they carried with them the fury of an entire species whose mercy had been repaid with murder. The war was about to change in ways the galaxy had never imagined. Operation Nightfall began at exactly 0300 hours across 15 star systems simultaneously. Maya Rodriguez felt the familiar tingle of elven shadow magic as her Reaper. Team stepped through the dimensional rift onto the bridge of the Vorthak command ship Bloodfang. The enemy had no warning as 47 enhanced human soldiers appeared like ghosts throughout their most secure installations. The Vorthak bridge crew reached for their weapons, but human reflexes enhanced with cybernetic implants moved faster than alien eyes could follow. Maya's team disabled the enemy officers with non-lethal force in less than 10 seconds. These prisoners would provide valuable intelligence about the command structure. Bridge secured, Maya reported through her tactical communication system. Moving toward the command center. Across the galaxy, other Reaper teams were executing similar operations. Elven battle mages had opened shadow paths directly into Vorthak military bases, allowing the enhanced humans to bypass all external defenses. The combination of human technology and elven magic created tactical possibilities that no enemy had prepared for. On the Starfall, Amanda checked her medical equipment as the massive human dreadnought moved into position above the Vorthak home system. She had insisted on being present for the final phase of the operation. If they were going to capture War Master Thokvar alive, she wanted medical personnel available to treat any wounded. "Are you sure about this, Doctor?" Commander Lisa Hayes asked as she reviewed the tactical displays. "This is going to be the most dangerous part of the mission." Amanda adjusted the red cross symbol on her uniform and checked her emergency medical kit. "Someone attacked medical personnel specifically because we wear these symbols. I want the War Master to see what a real healer looks like when he faces justice for his crimes." Zarathel stood beside Amanda wearing combat armor marked with both elven runes and human medical insignia. The combination looked strange, but symbolized perfectly what this alliance had become. Warriors and healers working together to protect the innocent. "The shadow path to the War Master's fortress is ready," Zarathel reported. "My magic will allow us to appear directly in his command chamber, but the path will only remain stable for a few minutes." Through the observation windows, Amanda could see the Vorthak homeworld spinning below them. It looked peaceful from space, but intelligence reports indicated massive military installations across the surface. This was the heart of an empire built on conquest and domination. Maya's voice crackled through the communication system from her position aboard the enemy command ship. Reaper 1 to Starfall. We have secured the Blood Fang and captured Admiral Korthex. The prisoner confirms that War Master Thokvar is in his fortress on the homeworld surface. Lisa nodded grimly as she studied the tactical displays. Roger, Reaper 1. Begin Phase 2 of the operation. Across the star system, human and elven warships moved into position around Vorthak military installations. The enemy had finally realized they were under attack, but it was too late. Their communication networks had been disrupted in the first wave, and their command structure was being systematically eliminated. Kethra stood on the bridge of the Starfall, wearing human military insignia that marked her as a liaison officer. She had provided the intelligence that made this operation possible, and now she watched her former empire crumbling under coordinated assault. The fortress where Thokvar hides has energy shields that can resist orbital bombardment, Kethra explained, as she highlighted targets on the tactical display. But the shields were designed to stop external attacks, not infiltration from shadow magic. Admiral Helen Brooks' voice came through from Earth Command. All units, this is Admiral Brooks. Remember that we are here to eliminate military targets and capture war criminals. Civilian populations are to be protected according to the rules of warfare. Amanda felt proud hearing those words. Even in their anger, humans maintained their principles. They would not become monsters to fight monsters. Shadow Path is opening, Zarathel announced, as her hands glowed with silver light. Maya, are your teams ready? Affirmative, came Maya's enhanced voice. Reapers are in position for final assault. The air in front of them shimmered and twisted as elven magic tore a hole through space itself. Through the dimensional rift, Amanda could see the interior of a massive stone fortress. Vorthak guards moved through corridors that looked more like a medieval castle than a modern military installation. Remember the mission parameters? Lisa said as the assault team prepared to enter the Shadow Path. Capture Thokvar alive if possible. Gather intelligence about war crimes. Demonstrate that attacking medical personnel has consequences. Maya stepped through the dimensional rift, first followed by her Reaper team. Their enhanced armor made no sound as they moved through the fortress corridors. Behind them came Zarathel and Amanda carrying medical supplies in case there were wounded to treat. The fortress was built like a maze with multiple levels and defensive positions. But Kethra had provided detailed maps, and the Reapers moved through the structure with mechanical precision. Vorthak guards fell to stun weapons before they could raise an alarm. War Master's chamber is just ahead, Maya reported as they approached massive metal doors marked with Vorthak military symbols. Detecting multiple heat signatures inside, he has guards with him. Amanda checked her medical scanner and frowned. I am reading some unusual life signs. Some of the people in that room are badly injured. He might be torturing prisoners. Maya's cybernetic systems analyzed the tactical situation in milliseconds. Breach in 3, 2, 1. The metal doors exploded inward as shaped charges created, an opening large enough for the assault team. Maya and her Reapers flowed through the breach like liquid death, moving with inhuman speed and precision. War Master Thokvar stood in the center of a circular chamber, surrounded by displays showing the destruction of his military installations. He was larger than most Vorthak, with decorative scars covering his face and arms. In his hands, he held a ceremonial weapon that looked more like a torture device than a rifle. Around the chamber, Amanda could see cages containing prisoners from multiple species, coalition soldiers who had been captured and tortured for information. Several appeared to be medical personnel, still wearing torn and bloodied uniforms with Red Cross symbols. So the humans send enhanced warriors to face me, Thokvar said in heavily accented English. Do you think your technology makes you superior to the Vorthak Empire? Maya leveled her weapon at the War Master while her team secured the other guards. Thokvar, you are under arrest for war crimes, including the deliberate targeting of medical personnel and the execution of prisoners. The War Master laughed and gestured toward the caged prisoners. Medical personnel are legitimate targets because they heal your wounded so they can fight again. Mercy is weakness. Compassion is defeat. Amanda stepped forward despite the danger. Her medical scanner showed that several prisoners needed immediate treatment. Those are human medics in your cages, people who dedicated their lives to healing others. Yes, Thokvar replied with satisfaction. And I have been questioning them about coalition medical procedures. They have provided useful information before they died. Something snapped inside Maya's enhanced emotional controls. Her cybernetic systems registered a massive spike in stress hormones as she looked at the tortured medical personnel. For a moment, her weapon wavered toward lethal settings. Maya, Amanda called softly, remember what we are fighting to protect. We are better than this. The Reaper captain regained control and switched her weapon back to stun settings. You will face trial for your crimes, War Master. The galaxy will see what kind of monster orders the murder of healers. Thokvar raised his ceremonial weapon, and Amanda realized he was not planning to surrender. The War Master would rather die fighting than face justice for his actions. Healers die! Thokvar screamed as he brought his weapon to bear on Amanda. Mercy dies! Only strength survives! Maya moved faster than human eyes could follow. Her enhanced reflexes allowed her to intercept the War Master's attack while simultaneously firing a stun bolt that dropped him unconscious to the floor. Target secured, Maya reported as her team moved to free the prisoners. War Master Thokvar is in custody. Amanda rushed to the cages where the tortured medical personnel were held. Some were beyond help, but others could still be saved with immediate treatment. As she worked to stabilize their conditions, she found herself crying for the first time since the attack on the medical station. Why? She asked Kethra, who was helping free the prisoners. Why does your War Master hate healers so much? Kethra looked ashamed as she opened another cage. Because he believes that showing mercy makes us weak, that helping the wounded only prolongs the war. He cannot understand that healing is what makes us civilized. Through the fortress windows, Amanda could see human and elven warships in orbit above the planet. The systematic destruction of Vorthak military installations was complete. An empire, built on conquest and cruelty, was crumbling because they had made the mistake of attacking those who healed the sick and comforted the dying. Maya secured the unconscious War Master with restraints designed for the most dangerous prisoners. Mission accomplished. The Vorthak military command structure has been eliminated. Their ability to wage offensive warfare has been crippled. Lisa's voice came through the communication system. Outstanding work, Reapers. Bring the prisoner back for trial. The galaxy needs to see justice done. As they prepared to leave the fortress, Amanda looked around at the evidence of Thokvar's crimes. Torture chambers disguised as interrogation rooms. Cells where medical personnel had been held and killed for the crime of wearing Red Cross symbols. This can never happen again, Amanda said firmly. We need to make sure the entire galaxy understands that medical personnel are off limits. Always. Zarathel nodded as she helped carry the rescued prisoners toward the shadow path. Today we have shown that attacking healers brings swift justice. But more importantly, we have shown that humans and elves together are unstoppable when fighting for what is right. They stepped through the dimensional rift back to the Starfall, carrying their prisoner and the survivors of Thokvar's torture chambers. Behind them, the Vorthak fortress stood empty and silent. The War Master, who had ordered the murder of healers, was now heading toward a trial that would establish new laws of warfare. The Reapers had completed their harvest, and the galaxy would never be the same. 3 months after Operation Nightfall, a new medical station orbited New Haven. The facility was larger than the original with better defensive systems and more advanced medical equipment, but the most important difference was not visible on any blueprint. This station represented something that had never existed before in galactic history. A symbol of cooperation between species who had learned that some principles were worth fighting to protect. Dr. Amanda Carter walked through the main medical bay, checking on patients from across the galaxy. Human soldiers recovering from battle. Wounds lay beside elven civilians who had been injured in transport accidents. In the special care unit, Vorthak refugees received treatment for malnutrition and trauma after fleeing their collapsing empire. The war had changed dramatically after the capture of War Master Thokvar. Without central leadership, the Vorthak military had fragmented into competing factions. Some continued fighting, but many had surrendered or sought asylum with coalition forces. The systematic destruction of their command structure had shown the galaxy what happened when someone attacked medical personnel. Kethra approached Amanda carrying a medical chart. The former Vorthak officer now wore the uniform of a coalition medical officer complete with Red Cross insignia. She had established the first Vorthak Medical Corps, teaching her people concepts that their military had forgotten. "How is the young Vorthak patient in bed 7? Amanda asked as she reviewed the treatment notes. "Responding well to the new therapy," Kethra replied. "The combination of human medical technology and elven healing magic is producing remarkable results. We are saving patients who would have died under traditional Vorthak medicine." Through the observation windows, Amanda could see Captain Maya Rodriguez and her Reaper team conducting security patrols around the station. The enhanced soldiers had become legendary throughout the galaxy, not just as warriors but as protectors of medical facilities. Their presence ensured that the rules of civilized warfare were respected by all sides. "Any word from the War Crimes Tribunal?" Amanda asked as they walked toward the pediatric ward. "Thokvar was found guilty on all charges," Kethra reported. "He will spend the rest of his life in a coalition prison. But more importantly, the tribunal established new laws making attacks on medical personnel a crime against all civilized species." The pediatric ward was Amanda's favorite part of the new station. Children from dozens of species played together in the recovery rooms while receiving treatment for various conditions. Human children shared toys with young elves, while Vorthak youngsters learned to trust healers who wore Red Cross symbols. Zarathel was working with a group of children, teaching them basic first aid skills. The elf had been spending more time with young patients since the attack on the original station. She believed that teaching children about healing would help prevent future wars. "Look, Amanda," Zarathel called out as she noticed the doctor approaching. "Little Sarah here just learned how to properly bandage a wound." A 7-year-old human girl held up her bandaged arm proudly. "Dr. Zarathel says that healers are the most important people in the galaxy because they help everyone feel better." Amanda smiled and knelt down beside the child. "That is absolutely right, Sarah. No matter what species someone is or what uniform they wear, if they are hurt, we help them get better." Through the communication system, Admiral Helen Brooks' voice announced, "The daily briefing. All station personnel, please note that we have received formal requests from 12 different species to establish medical training programs. The reputation of this facility has spread throughout the galaxy." Amanda felt proud hearing that announcement. The new medical station had become more than just a hospital. It was a training center where medical personnel from different species learned to work together. It was a symbol of what could be accomplished when beings chose healing over hatred. Commander Lisa Hayes entered the pediatric ward carrying official documents. She had been promoted to admiral after her role in defending the original medical station and now oversaw all coalition medical facilities. "Amanda, I have something for you," Lisa announced as she handed over the documents. "The Galactic Medical Council has approved your proposal for the medic protection protocols." Amanda read through the official papers with growing excitement. "This means that every civilized military force in the galaxy will be required to protect medical personnel. Attacking healers will trigger automatic coalition response." "More than that," Lisa continued. "Any species that signs the protocols will have access to coalition medical technology and training. We are making it more beneficial to protect healers than to attack them." Kethra read over Amanda's shoulder, and her expression showed amazement. "My people would have called this impossible just 1 year ago. You are changing the fundamental nature of warfare itself." Maya Rodriguez appeared in the doorway of the pediatric ward. The enhanced soldier looked somewhat out of place among the children, but her presence was comforting rather than threatening. The Reapers had become known as protectors of the innocent. "Dr. Carter, you have visitors," Maya announced. "Representatives from the Andromedan Trade Union want to discuss establishing medical exchanges with their colonies." Amanda looked around the pediatric ward at children from multiple species receiving care together. This was what they had fought to protect. The idea that healing should transcend politics and prejudice, that medical personnel should be safe to do their work regardless of who was fighting whom. "Tell them I will meet with them in an hour," Amanda replied. "But first I want to finish rounds with our patients." As the afternoon shift began, Amanda found herself working alongside medical personnel from 6 different species. Human doctors shared techniques with elven healers, while Vorthak medics learned coalition treatment protocols. The cooperation that had seemed impossible during the war was now becoming routine. The memorial garden had been built in the center of the new station. It honored the medical personnel who had died in the attack on the original facility. There, names were carved in stone from earth and crystal from the elven homeworld. Fresh flowers were placed there daily by patients whose lives had been saved. Zarathel joined Amanda in the memorial garden as the day shift ended. "Do you think we have truly changed things?" the elf asked. "Will future generations remember why this place was built?" Amanda touched one of the memorial stones and read the name of a young human medic who had died protecting patients during the attack. "I think we have started something that will outlast all of us. We have shown the galaxy that some principles are worth fighting for." Through the garden windows, they could see ships from dozens of different species docked at the station. Medical transports bringing wounded for treatment. Research vessels conducting joint studies. Training ships carrying the next generation of healers who would carry these principles to distant stars. The Reaper units have received commendations from 7 different governments, Zarathel mentioned. "Maya tells me they are being deployed to protect medical facilities throughout Coalition space." Amanda nodded approvingly. "Good. The galaxy needs to know that attacking healers will bring swift consequences, but more importantly, it needs to know that we will never stop trying to save lives." As artificial night fell on the station, Amanda made her final rounds through the medical bays. In the critical care unit, a Vorthak soldier was recovering from surgery performed by human doctors. In the maternity ward, an elven mother held her newborn child while human nurses provided support. The communication system announced the evening briefing. "All medical personnel, please note that we have received requests from 15 additional species to join the medic protection protocols. The galaxy is choosing healing over hatred." Amanda stopped at the main observation deck and looked out at the stars. Somewhere in that vast darkness, there were still conflicts and wars. But now there were also medical stations protected by international law and defended by the most elite soldiers humanity could produce. Maya Rodriguez joined her at the observation deck. "Dr. Carter, I wanted to thank you for insisting that the Reapers follow medical ethics during Operation Nightfall. It reminded us what we were fighting to protect." "And I wanted to thank you for protecting healers throughout the galaxy," Amanda replied. "You have made it possible for medical personnel to do their work without fear." Kethra appeared carrying the final medical reports of the day. "The rehabilitation program for former Vorthak soldiers is showing excellent results. Many are requesting to join Coalition Medical Services." Amanda smiled as she reviewed the reports. Former enemies working together to heal the wounded. Children from different species playing together while receiving medical care. A galaxy learning that mercy was strength, not weakness. "We started with one simple principle," Amanda said as she looked out at the stars. "That healers should be safe to do their work regardless of politics or prejudice. From that one idea, we have built something that spans the galaxy." Zarathel joined them at the observation deck, carrying fresh flowers for the memorial garden. "My grandmother always said that healing is the highest form of magic. Today, I think she would be proud to see what we have accomplished." Maya's enhanced vision tracked the positions of patrol ships around the station. "The Reapers will continue to guard this place and others like it. The galaxy has learned that some lines cannot be crossed without consequences." Amanda placed her hand on the Red Cross symbol on her uniform. The same symbol that had made her a target during the attack now represented something powerful and protected throughout known space. Outside the observation windows, ships continued to arrive and depart. Medical personnel from dozens of species working together, patients receiving care regardless of their origin or allegiance. A new order built on the simple idea that healing should always be respected and protected. The war that had started with an attack on healers had ended with the establishment of principles that would guide the galaxy for generations to come. The medic protection protocols ensured that no one would ever again face the choice between providing medical care and staying safe. Amanda Carter looked out at the stars and knew that they had changed the universe forever.